Oh, life could be a dream if I could take you up in paradise up above. If you would tell me I'm the only one that you love, life could be a dream, sweetheart. Hello, hello again.
Hello, fellow meaty, obese flesh bags, and welcome to, well, haven't you read the title? For those too obese to point their eyeballs downward, I'm going to explain how to use Python to A. Create a randomized mod for a game known as Reassembly, and B. Cause mass mayhem with my poor skills. Unfortunately, because I don't know whether you're a literal rock or a super genius, I'm going to have to take some time to explain what Reassembly is. Now, what is Reassembly, you don't ask? Reassembly is a space sandbox game where you cram together simple polygons to make giant war crime committing spaceships. Once you're finished making your giant penis, you run around in a spaceship committing mass genocide on every faction but yours. The building system is one of Reassembly's pros. You can create anything from small racers to entire battleships to space beam. Additionally, Reassembly's soundtrack is amazing, with an atmosphere like no other, produced by Peak Sound. Here's a little taste of it. You can pick it up on Steam or their website for about $15 USD. But that's not even the tip of the iceberg. Reassembly has a very nice and chill Discord community as well. Which, besides producing a staggering array of mods for the game, is also where I learned to mod Reassembly in the first place. And it turns out, Reassembly is a game practically meant for modding. All you have to do is edit some JSON-esque data and stuff happens. You still don't know how to mod Reassembly, I'll assume. Don't want to know? I don't care. You're free to cry about it like the potato head you are. Reassembly can be modded in several ways, each with their respective files. Factions. Factions.lua contains data for, well, factions in the game. Regions. Regions.lua controls how and where factions spawn in the world. Shapes. Shapes.lua contains the data for the shapes used for blocks in Reassembly. Blocks. Blocks.lua is important. It defines the blocks that you use to build ships in Reassembly. Audio. While audio.lua is still poorly understood, it allows you to add custom sounds to the game's weapons, the background music, and more. And finally, ships. While these are actually separate and auto-generated files, these store the blueprints for ships of the factions that spawn in-game. Now, do you remember all that? No? Great. Because the only thing I'm going to randomize is the blocks, for the very good reason of I'm too lazy to do any more than that. Now, we can't randomize blocks without knowing their structure. Luckily for us, Reassembly uses a spaghetti code unorganized mess of data types to define them. Simplifying things a bit, each block has 5 parts. An ID, that, who could have known, identifies the block. A name and an info bit called a blurb, which explain to the player what the block does. Features that tell the block what it can do, whether it be shooting or being able to teleport the entire ship. Arguments, which contain the data about how the block does stuff. For example, these are used to tell a block it has 100 health, or have a color of red. And finally, children, which are essentially blocks inside their parent blocks. And that's about it.
By the power vested in this 454 Kazul, I sentence you to non-existence.
And now that I've wasted a ridiculous amount of time getting you up to speed, how do we actually randomize the blocks? Starting simply, what we can do to randomize a block is by adding random features to it. Features sometimes require arguments to work about. so we can store each feature with its required arguments. But some arguments work well, or even only with others. So to fix this, each feature's data can be further modified to also contain extra features with a chance of being added.
And because I just love bullying myself, we can also randomize the arguments of the features.
There's 3 types of arguments in reassembly: numbers, colors, and text.
Text arguments are always optional in blocks, so I can do what I do with all my problems. Pretend they just don't exist.
How we randomize numbers and colors is essentially the same though. Since colors are stored as RGB hex values, we just need to randomize 3 numbers and convert them to hex. The only problem is that all this requires quite a bit of data. Besides arguments, children can also be randomized, but that's easy. Just do what we did in the child.
FBI, open up!
Now, even though I'm not very good at programming, that doesn't mean I don't like neat code. So what we can do is package all this randomness into classes, which I can make copies of, tell them their features, and let them do all the work without bloating my main code. See, this way I can pretend I'm actually a good programmer. Now, there's a whole process of generating factions specifically, but I don't think anyone cares. So then, let's skip right to the good parts, shall we? And at long last, I can create mods without typing a single line.